All right, let's jump right in. We all think we know Benjamin Franklin, right? The founding father, the diplomat, the guy on the $100 bill. But what if I told you that for most of his life, that's not what he was famous for? Today, we're going to meet the man his contemporaries knew, Benjamin Franklin, the scientific superstar. I love this quote from the historian Carl Van Doren. He called Franklin a harmonious human multitude. I mean, what a perfect way to put it. It gets at the sheer scope of the man. He wasn't just one thing. He was a writer, an inventor, a statesman, a philosopher, all rolled into one incredible person. Yeah, that's the picture most of us have in our heads, isn't it? The wise old guy with the glasses signing the Declaration of Independence. But here's the kicker, the really fascinating part. All that political stuff, that was actually the last chapter of his life. It's not where his story begins. So let's pull back the curtain and meet the Franklin you probably don't know, the one whose reputation was forged not in the halls of government, but in a laboratory. Seriously, I am not exaggerating. Before he was an American revolutionary, Benjamin Franklin was a global celebrity, famous across Europe as one of the greatest scientific minds of his time. They called them natural philosophers back then, and he was at the absolute top of his game. And you don't have to take my word for it. Look at this. This is his actual certificate of election to the Royal Society in London. We're talking about the most prestigious, most elite scientific group on the planet. And get this, look at the date, 1756. That's a full 20 years before the Declaration of Independence. His scientific fame was already rock solid. The certificate itself says he was chosen because he had, and I'm quoting here, very eminently distinguished himself by various discoveries in natural philosophy. This wasn't some honorary degree, you know. This was the real deal, a recognition of absolutely groundbreaking work. So what exactly was that work? Well, it all centered around one of the most mysterious, powerful, and frankly, terrifying forces of nature they knew, electricity. And specifically, its most spectacular and deadly form, lightning. You see, Franklin didn't just dabble in electricity. He completely changed how we understand and even talk about it. Before him, the thinking was that electricity was two different fluids, but Franklin had this breakthrough idea. What if it's just one fluid? He said an excess of it is positive and a lack of it is negative. Just stop and think about that for a second. The words positive and negative charge that we use every single day, they come directly from Ben Franklin. And this new theory led him to ask a really bold, almost crazy question. He's in his lab making these little sparks jump from a glass tube, and then he looks out the window at a massive thunderstorm, and he wonders, wait a minute, are those two things the same? I mean, how could you possibly prove that the awesome, destructive power of lightning was the same stuff as a tiny little spark? Well, his plan was as clever as it was dangerous. He came up with an experiment that would go down in history, the thing that would truly make him a legend. Okay, so these are his actual instructions. And what's so cool is that this wasn't some crazy, reckless stunt. It was a really carefully thought out experiment. First, you make a kite out of silk so the rain doesn't destroy it. You attach a sharp wire at the top to attract what he called electric fire. Then you fly it with regular twine, but, and this is key, you tie a silk ribbon to your end of the string. That silk is your insulator. You fasten a metal key right where the twine and the silk meet. Finally, and this is the most important part, you stand undercover, like in a shed or doorway, to keep that silk ribbon nice and dry. Then you just bring your knuckle close to the key and see if you can draw a spark. The goal was to collect the ambient charge, not to get hit by a lightning bolt.